Have you ever been falsely accused and felt like you had to scream to be heard? You explain, you plead, you try to stay calm, but all your words fall on deaf ears. And the most painful thing is, it seems it has been decided that you are at fault before you even speak. If you have ever been in that situation, don't miss this video. Because sometimes, excuses don't save you. Silence is what keeps you strong. We have all been misunderstood. Maybe in family, when you are blamed for something you did not do. It could be at work, when someone manipulates the story to make you the wrong person. It could also be between friends, where a small misunderstanding gets blown out of proportion and you lose the chance to clear things up. And what is our first, most instinctive reaction? Justify. We want to be clear. We want people to understand. But then, you realize a harsh truth. The more you say, the less people believe. The more you explain, the more they think you are making excuses. And the more you try to defend yourself, you only fall deeper into the trap of prejudice they have set for you. Why is that? Because once people believe you're wrong, they stop listening. They just look for more evidence to reinforce that belief. And the cruel thing is, your very attempt to explain is unintentionally reinforcing their eyes that you are guilty. Have you ever seen a child being wronged? When the child screams, "Not me," the adult just shouts, "Stop arguing." Reason has lost to shouting. Truth has been stifled by imposition. That's how society works. When people choose a negative view, they close their ears to the truth. So, the important thing to remember is, don't rush to protest. Don't try to prove anything. And most importantly, don't lose your cool. Because emotional reactions never help you win a battle of prejudice. When you get angry, you lose the initiative. When you argue, you lower your value to the level of the person trying to destroy it. In a world where words are easily distorted, silence is the bravest choice. Silence is not surrender. It is not about accepting mistakes. But it is a way for you to protect dignity. Keep the spirit, and don't give others control over your emotions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the Stoic emperors, once wrote, "Do not waste words on those who do not want to understand. Because the truth will live by action, not by argument." And that's truer than ever when you're being wrongly blamed. A person with inner strength does not need to scream to prove his innocence. They let time clarify. They let their behavior prove their character. And they keep their minds from getting pulled into the emotional whirlwind that others create. You can choose to speak up, or choose to remain silent. But if you choose to be silent, know that it is not weakness. But it is maturity. It is the calmness of the dead recognized. But live to keep yourself. In the next section, we'll explore further. Why are your explanations often perceived as defenses? And when is silence really a more powerful action than a speech? Keep reading. If you are going through a period of being misunderstood, I believe you will find strength here. Have you ever wondered, why are some people willing to unjustly accuse you without knowing what the real story is? Why do they not need to hear your explanation and still conclude that you are the one who is wrong? It's not just unfair behavior. It's a phenomenon that runs deep in human psychology. They blame. Not because you're wrong, but because they're weak. Sounds paradoxical, right? But let me tell you this. A truly mature person, when faced with a problem, will stop, observe, and ask themselves, what is my responsibility in this? But on the contrary, a person who is not strong enough, they cannot bear the feeling that they might be the cause. They are afraid of being hurt, afraid of being judged, afraid of facing their own mistakes. And then, blaming is the fastest way for them to run away from the truth. They need a scapegoat, someone to blame, and if you're nearby, within easy reach, well, sorry, you'll be the scapegoat in their internal battle. They don't attack you because you're actually wrong. They do it because their minds need an escape. Blaming doesn't help them solve the problem, but it does make them feel less hurt, temporarily. Like a wounded person writhing in pain, instead of healing. They smash everything around them to release that pain. And if you understand this mechanism, you will no longer feel the need to get angry, or the need to run around and justify every single word. Because you know, they are not attacking you. They are projecting their own weakness onto you. Blank. Underscore. Blank. But don't think this only happens between individuals. Society operates in a very similar fashion. Have you ever seen social media go crazy over an unverified piece of news? A person only needs to be caught in an unclear camera angle, or have a part of their speech cut out, to be labeled bad or villain. Why? Because people like to judge. It's fast, it's easy, and it feels like we're getting the point, even though we're only seeing 5% of the truth. Modern society is a machine that consumes information at breakneck speed. It has no patience to listen, no time to get it right. It just needs a simple, easy to understand story. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? And that's it. And if you happen to fall into that story, you will not have a chance to get a fair trial. Because people don't want the truth to be more complicated than they think. They just want to get back to their routine as quickly as possible. Blank. Underscore. Blank. That is why, if you are being misunderstood, if someone is quick to blame you, instead of getting angry, ask yourself, is this person trying to prove me wrong, or are they trying to escape their own guilt? The better you understand the psychology behind other people's actions, the more calm you can stay. You no longer feel offended. You no longer need to argue to win. Because in truth, you win when you don't let other people's hurt drag you down with them. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Remember, the quicker someone is to blame you, the less they understand you. The more judgmental a society is, the less trust and empathy it has. And you, the one listening to me, you have a choice. Or react like they do, or stand taller than that. Understand, and no need to get angry. See, and no need to prove. Because sometimes knowing the truth in your heart is enough for you to move on without asking anyone's permission. There is a sad truth that you must accept if you want to grow up. When someone believes that you are at fault, all your explanations are just defenses in their eyes. You can make sense, you can make logic, but then you see the look in their eyes that are not listening, but are just waiting for you to finish speaking to rebut. And the sad thing is, that very attempt to justify makes you look weaker. You are reacting, and when you react, you are being passive. You are losing control. They don't listen to understand. They listen to confirm what they already have in their heads. And the more you try to talk, the more suspicious you appear in their eyes. More like someone who is afraid of the truth being exposed. A vicious cycle, a psychological trap, and the only way out is to not play by their rules. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't explain to people who don't really want to understand." That quote, to me, has been a guiding light in times when I have been misunderstood. I remember one time at work, I was blamed for a system error that I did not cause. Rumors spread quickly. I had a choice, either to fight back vigorously, or to keep quiet and continue working with kindness. I choose the second way. And over the next 3 weeks, it became clear who was really up to the task. I don't need to argue. The truth speaks for itself. I tell you this so you understand. Speaking up is not always brave, sometimes. Bravery is knowing when to be silent. Why? Blank. Underscore. Blank. Because justification is, by its very nature, an emotionally driven act. When you immediately say, "It wasn't me. I didn't do it. You have to believe me," you are reacting from fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of isolation. Fear that others will no longer look at you the same way. All of that is very human, but it makes you vulnerable to manipulation. Strong people, they don't let their emotions rule them like that. They don't need to be understood right away, because they know. The truth does not need to be proven by shouting. It just needs time and persistence. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Imagine this. You are standing in a crowd. Someone shouts a false accusation at you. All eyes are on you, waiting for your response. You have 2 options. 1. Panicked. I tried to explain. Ran after every rumor. 2. Stand still. Look straight ahead. Don't say a word, and continue living your life your way. The second way, silence, is not surrender. It is power. You are taking back the initiative. You don't play their game. You make them, and all observers, think again. You keep your dignity, and keep your peace of mind. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Being silent does not mean you cannot speak. Silence is because you know. Talking now won't help anything, and will only cost you more. You are silent not because you are wrong. Because you understand. People won't remember what you said, they'll remember what you did. How to keep yourself. That is the liberal's declaration. I don't need to convince you. I'm strong enough not to need that. Blank. Underscore. Blank. So if one day you are wrongly accused, if you stand among skeptical looks, and if you know in your heart that you are innocent, then remember this. You don't win by talking. You win by living. Because in the end, true value always stands, even in silence. There is a skill that very few people are taught, but everyone needs in life. It's the skill of knowing when to speak, and when to keep quiet. You see, in a world where everyone is in a rush to react, it's important that you know hold back, know listen, and know choose when to speak up is an amazing power. And especially, when you are misunderstood or wrongly blamed. What you choose not to say is sometimes much more important than what you try to explain. Blank. Underscore. Blank. So how do you know when to speak? And when to keep quiet? There are 3 questions you should ask yourself before you speak. 1. Will what I'm about to say change their mind? 2. Do they really want to listen? Or are they just waiting to argue? 3. If I stay silent, will the truth come to light over time? If you answered no to at least 2 of these 3 questions, then the answer is clear. Choose silence. Why? Blank. Underscore. Blank. Because if someone already believes you are wrong, you can put the truth in front of them, they will still reject it. If someone doesn't want to understand you, they won't listen. They'll just wait for their turn to talk back. And if you let your emotions drag you into a useless argument, you not only waste your time, but also lose your composure and dignity. Remember, it's not always necessary to speak up to prove you're right. Sometimes, you just need to not fall into the game that others are leading you into. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And one more very important thing. Never explain to someone who doesn't respect you. Let me ask you this. If someone really cares about you, really respects you, what will they do when something is unclear? They will ask. They will listen. They will want to understand. But if someone is willing to blame you, attack you, without asking a single question, well, that says one thing. They are not looking for the truth. They are just looking for an emotional outlet. You are not anyone's emotional trash can. Don't let people hurt you twice. The first time is when they accuse you. The second time is when you try to explain yourself in the hope that they will change. Trust me, they won't. And then you will realize, the more you explain, the more they despise you. The more humble you are, the more they think they are right. So, don't waste your words on people who don't deserve your valuable silence. Blank. Underscore. Blank. So, if not talk, then what? The answer is action. The person who misunderstands you today may still misunderstand you in a week, a month, even a year. But if you continue to live kindly, live responsibly, live true to your values, time will speak for you. You don't need to shout, "I'm innocent." You don't need to make people believe you. You just have to keep going steadily. Because in the end, the truth is not debatable. It takes time. That is the principle of life that Stoic philosophy always teaches us. Don't let words do the work of actions. Don't let others drag you into battles you don't need to fight. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is choosing the right time. Silence is about respecting yourself, rather than trying to please others. Blank. Underscore. Blank. So if today you are misunderstood, blamed, judged wrongly, remember, you don't win by arguing. You win by living. And you are only truly strong when you know when to speak and when to let things fall silent. There is something that seems simple but is extremely difficult to do in modern life. Keep silent when misunderstood. Don't react. Don't get angry. Don't rush into explaining or arguing. It is not passive. It's inner strength. The kind of strength you need to train like a mental muscle. And in this section, I want to share with you practical, effective, and actionable ways you can apply today to practice the ability to stay silent when misunderstood, while still remaining steady, strong, and calm. Blank. Underscore. Blank. First, ask yourself a simple yet incredibly powerful question. What am I trying to prove? And to whom? Many times, we react instinctively. We get angry. We explain. We try to prove. I am right. I am not wrong. But have you ever stopped and asked the other person, are they really worth your time, energy, and emotions to prove something? If they hadn't cared about the truth in the first place, if they just want to conclude without understanding, then trying to explain is like pouring water into a desert, exhausted and nothing sprouts. So instead of proving it to them, use that misunderstanding as a willpower gym. Consider it a mental test. They think wrong about you? That's okay. Use it to strengthen your character. Be quiet, not because you lose, but because you are practicing a quality they don't have: self-control. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Second, write down your feelings, instead of reacting with impulsive action. Have you ever tried writing a journal or a note after being hurt? It sounds simple, but it's surprisingly effective. When you write down, I felt misunderstood, I felt hurt, I wanted to scream, then you've taken the emotion out of your head, onto paper, where you can observe it as an outsider. And you know what happens? You will calm down. You will realize that you do not need to respond immediately. And 90% of negative emotions, if you don't act hastily, will dissipate on their own. Writing is how you transform angry energy into self-awareness. And the person who is able to clearly perceive his emotions is the person who always controls his reactions. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Third, practice pausing for 5 seconds before saying anything. It sounds simple, but practice requires discipline. When you are misunderstood, when you want to fight back, when your blood boils to your head, stop. Take a deep breath. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will be surprised with the results. Because 80% of what you're going to say isn't necessary. The habit of pausing for 5 seconds not only saves you from unnecessary trouble, it is also a way for you to create distance between emotions and actions. That is where bravery is born. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And finally, learn to set boundaries, but calmly. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't need to argue to prove yourself. Just one sentence, gentle but decisive, is enough. I choose not to argue. If you really want to know the truth, I am willing to share. That's it, no more needed. Because you are not here to please everyone. You are here to live up to your values. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Remember, the silence you choose today is not because you are weak, but because you know you are so strong that you don't need to prove it. Every time you stay silent at the right time, you are forging a layer of mental armor. And over time, you will become a steadfast person, unshaken by other people's looks. There is one thing you need to remember, and I hope you will engrave it in your heart. You don't need to explain to everyone. Not everyone deserves your truth. Not everyone is willing to listen with an open heart. And not everyone is kind enough to distinguish between what is real and what is prejudice. We tend to want to be understood correctly, want transparency, want fairness, want to remove the misunderstandings that are weighing on my image. But you know what? The truth doesn't have to scream to be heard. It just needs you live right, and time will do the rest. Blank. Underscore. Blank. I have had such moments. Misunderstood, accused, judged without anyone asking me a single question. And I've also fallen into the trap of trying to explain things to people who don't want to understand. I thought that as long as I spoke clearly enough and truthfully enough, everything would be cleared up. But what I learned is, not everyone cares about the truth. Some people only care about the feeling their story makes. From then on, I gradually learned to keep quiet. It's not because I'm weak, but because I'm strong enough to not need validation from unimportant people. I choose silence to keep the peace. Blank. Underscore. Blank. In a noisy society, where everyone is competing to speak up, everyone demands to be proven, to be vindicated. The person who knows when to be silent is the strongest. They don't need to shout to be seen. No need to protest to be respected. For political reasons, there no need to compete there was a stronger statement than any voice. They do not live to be recognized. They live to maintain dignity. They don't let other people's emotions dictate their inner values. And you can be one too. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Remember this. Your dignity, always higher than anger. You don't have to respond to every accusation. You don't need to shut down every gossip. You just need control yourself otherwise. Let time and action clarify everything. That is the spirit of the Stoic. They understand that, I can't control what other people think, say or do to me. But I can control how I react to all of that. That is true freedom. Not outside freedom, but it is inner freedom, where you are no longer manipulated by the judgment of others. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And if today you are in a situation where you are misunderstood, hurt for something you did not cause, I want you to know this. You are not alone. You don't need to resist. You just have to hold on. Because your silence is full of character, the best proof of who you are. You don't need to say anything to prove yourself. Just live right. Just live true. Just move on. Because one day, those who misunderstood you, if they have any conscience left, will look back at themselves. And you don't have to be there to say, I told you so. Because at that time, your silence said it all. Live as a free person, not because you want to be understood that you speak up. Not because you are hurt that you react, but because you know. True value is always quiet but lasting. And if this video touches a part of you, leave a comment. I want to hear your story. If you've ever been misunderstood, screamed in vain, tried to prove yourself and no one listened, this video is for you. Because you don't need to be understood by everyone. You just need to be respected by yourself. If you find the power of silence is something you need to practice, leave a comment. Tell me, in what situation have you chosen silence over justification? I read every single one of your posts, because this is more than just a video. It's a place where strong people find each other. Speech balloon. And if you think this video can help someone who is being misunderstood or struggling with accusations, please share it with them. Sometimes, a well-timed video can save a soul. Don't forget to click subscribe to not miss new videos that help you practice inner strength. Live firmly and freely, even in stormy days.